Hey, y'all, welcome to Musical Miles Podcast, where live music and great stories take center stage. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at TETON Guitars. Whether you're picking tunes around a campfire or taking the stage at your favorite honky-tonk, TETON Guitars delivers rich, soulful sound built for the journey. Learn more at tetonguitars.com. Now let's dive into some music and memories. Hey, music lovers, welcome to Musical Miles Podcast. I'm your host, Byron Duffin, and we are here in Nashville, Tennessee with Mr. Joe Leathers. And we are at Curb Record.
We are the Empire.
What a cool place. What a cool place.
Yeah, it's great. It's comfortable. It's a great group of people. Just it's the old cliche, but it feels like family for me.
Sure.
I love it. I can't wait to come in every day and see what happens.
Well, what a cool industry. We can't wait to go to work every day and get to meet great artists and songwriters and go to cool venues. Real quick, we want to give a shout out to Curb, but this office has got a real cool history. Tell real quick whose office this was initially, supposed to be.
When the building, I believe when it was being built or just in the design process, it was Capitol Records headquarters.
Right.
It was going to be Capitol's headquarters. And that's when Garth was the king of the world.
Right.
And this was going to be his office. And it is very majestic, very Garth-like.
Oh, it is amazing. You can't, we'll try and take some video or pictures, but there's this big, I don't know what you call it.
Is that a spire?
I don't know, but it's all glass, and it's pretty amazing. Natural light coming in, and these beautiful view here. So we are actually on Music Row, historical Music Row.
This is it. There's RCA studio right there.
Yeah. We actually were across the street 2 days ago and interviewed a young lady at Interstate Music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, a young lady by the name of Scout Spear.
What a great name.
Yeah, it is a great name. And she's friends with Marla Cannon Goodman, who set up the interview for us with her. She said, hey, you're coming to town. Would you interview Scout? We said, absolutely. She's pretty new artist, and she's got a new song out on Spotify. It's got 1.8 million streams. It's pretty good for a new artist.
Yeah.
You can relate to those numbers. But, well, let's talk. I might drop my notes. Let's talk about you, because you did things a little different coming into Nashville. You actually played music as a teenager, right? Started playing the guitar and the piano. Do you play the piano as well, or
not very well?
Okay.
I know my way around it, but I'm not a piano player.
Okay. But actually went to college.
Yeah, started out as a drummer when I was, I guess, 10 or 11.
Okay.
And fell in love with I'd already been a music lover. I don't know why. It was just in me. I'm from Memphis.
Right. Yeah, you did grow up in Memphis, and the home of the king. You gotta love music.
The entirety of American music started in Memphis.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yeah, blues, jazz.
Came up from the Mississippi Delta with all the blues artists.
Yeah.
And you had the R&B guys that were already there doing that thing, and then you had some of the bluegrass guys come in, and then it migrated back and forth between Nashville and Memphis, and it's a river town, so all the way up and down the river, those blues artists went up and down from New Orleans to St. Louis to Chicago and it all started right there, and then along came Elvis and Johnny Cash and Carl Perkins and Ike and Tina Turner, and it's just, you're surrounded by it.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with the whole thing, and then pretty soon after that started playing guitar. And around, I guess, 14, I sat in my parents' playroom and on a yellow beanbag and wrote a song. I don't know why or where it came from. I was not intending on writing a song, but I wrote what to me was a song at that time.
Yeah.
And I liked it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I thought, wow, that was cool. I want to do that again. So I just continued doing that and played in a bunch of bands and cover bands and did the whole Memphis thing. played a lot of the Beale Street venues, all the venues all over town. It has at times been a pretty good live music scene. It kind of ebbs and flows depending on the venue owners and whether they want to pay people or not. But overall, it's a really good, live music town. And so I did all that and played in a band that we cut some originals and had a blast doing that. And a buddy of mine, one of the guys that I played guitar with in high school, we would just go to his house and play. He's a singer-songwriter in Memphis. His name's Rice Jury. And he's still killing it over there. He's kind of a local legend in Memphis.
Sure.
And there was this Memphis Songwriters Association, and it's just a local chapter of songwriting
Right.
sort of community. And they had regular meetings. He said, "Man, come to a meeting." I said, "Okay." So I went to a meeting, and it was cool. I met some other people who were like-minded, and they had this songwriting contest every year. You would submit songs.
Right.
And so I, at Rice's arm twisting, submitted 3 songs. And they had different categories like country, rock, blues, gospel, whatever. And I ended up winning 2 categories and got second in another category.
Wow.
Well, there was a guy named Judd Phillips there.
Okay.
He is Sam Phillips' nephew.
Right.
Who started Sun Records and
was
the whole Elvis thing.
Yeah.
So Judd was around all that and had a publishing company, and he said, "Hey, you interested in a publishing deal?" And I said, "I don't know what that is." And we talked about it, and I decided not to do it just because it was a really small company. And I just didn't know that they were really viable. And he said, he called me like a week later. He said, "I'm going to Nashville to meet Ralph Murphy." Ralph is a legend and was at ASCAP at the time, kind of running ASCAP. And he said, "I want you to meet Ralph." So I went and met Ralph, played him some songs, and Ralph, now I had a job.
You were a banker.
Worked at a bank.
And you're married and you had
married, kids.
You're 30 years old, right?
Yeah, had kids, the whole thing.
At this point. So you're not, that being a songwriter was not on your radar. You were a songwriter, but it wasn't to be a profession.
Well, not
early,
no.
Yeah.
But once I started writing with a band, I just loved it so much to see those songs come alive in the studio. So I just kept doing it. And then when I met Ralph, I played him songs, and he said, "You're not very good right now, but I see some things that are very unique and make me think maybe you could be a songwriter." And to me, that was rocket fuel. So,
right.
Okay, I got a shot. So I said, "Well, what do I do?" And he ran me through a bunch of things. He said, "What's your job as a songwriter?" I said, and I gave him some answer, He said, "No, your job is to keep the 18 to 34-year-old female during drive time in the morning from changing the radio station." I thought, okay, that makes sense. Well, how do you do that? And we laughed about that.
Sure.
So there's 1,000 different ways. But he goes, "That's your job. Radio doesn't want to play songs. They would rather run ads all day because they are generating revenue with their ads. But they have to play music to keep people engaged. Their biggest fear is losing a listener because the song they chose is not right."
Right.
And
before they run the next ad.
Before they run the next ad.
Right.
I mean, that's what they do. That's a business. I get it,
Yeah.
And so he said, "Keep writing. Bring me, every time you got a batch of 3 or 4 or 5, bring them up to me." So I started meeting with him regularly. And after that, he said, "I'm going to introduce you to some publishers." So that process started, and I met some publishers all over town, and in the same process, bring me some songs.
Mm-hmm.
Most of them said, "I want to keep listening." A couple of them said, "No, it's just not for me." And so the ones that were paying me attention, I would bring them songs regularly.
Right.
3 songs at a time. They would listen to a verse chorus. Sometimes they would listen through the chorus, but most times it was just verse chorus, 3 songs. And, I'm driving back and forth from Memphis.
Right. You were coming over and doing songwriter. I mean,
Yeah, I would.
playing as well. And
After I met with Ralph, he recommended go out and play all these open mics because I was not going to be able to get on a regular songwriting show because why would I?
you
I
don't
didn't,
have anything.
I didn't have anything.
You hadn't had a successful
Well,
song.
no, and I didn't really have songs good enough to get on them at that time, I think is
Okay.
what he was telling me.
Yeah.
But he said, do the open mics, meet some writers, build your circle, start writing in Nashville. So I would leave work at, 4:30, drive up here, play an open mic at 11, 3 songs, meet some people, get in the car and drive back home. And I did that a lot.
And go back to work the next day.
Go back to work the next day. And then that led to,
What year was this about?
oh gosh, this was 05, 4, 5.
Okay.
04, 5, somewhere in there. I've been at Curb 20, I guess going on 21 years. So right around in there. So,
Didn't you have a little lapse? You left Curb for a minute and then came back? Is that what I read?
well, there was a Curb word merger.
Okay.
Mike Curb owned both companies, but it was
Oh.
just for economies of scale and efficiency, they just merged the companies.
Okay.
And for a while, it was a little tenuous with the politics of you got 2 companies
Yeah.
and 2 people in the same position. Who's going to get the job? And
Right.
there were about 5 or 6 of us. It got, it was just not what it was.
Sure.
And in a creative environment, if you have distractions like that,
Yeah.
it's not very creative.
No.
So 5 or 6 of us left. And I left for about a year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was standing on the beach, Rosemary Beach, Florida, and my phone rings, and I just happened to hear it in my bag, and I went over and answered it. Well, it was Christy Robinson, who has been here 27 years, and she said, "Hey, Christy, what is going on?" I love her. We've been friends since I've been here. She said, "Look, you should not have left. You left under the wrong circumstances, and we want you back." I said, well, I've been at Demolition a year, and I just re-signed another contract for another year. 2 weeks ago. She said, it doesn't matter. She goes, matter of fact, check your email. I said, well, I'm standing on the beach. She said, well, when you get back to the house, check your email. So I did, and it was deal points. And so I called her back, and the next day I said, I'm going to make this happen because I never wanted to leave anyway.
Right.
But I just had to for me. So I talked to Demolition and told them the situation. They said, you know what? We are never going to keep you from an opportunity. And they were so gracious about it and understanding. And we worked out a thing for my first year back at Curb. We worked out a business arrangement.
Yeah.
And then that was over and ended. But yeah, it was a year of I wasn't comfortable because I was comfortable here.
Right. Right.
But I learned a lot. I met some new people that I didn't know. Got in some circles that I wasn't in. But
Well, sometimes it's good to get outside your comfort zone for a little bit, for a hot minute, and then reevaluate what you were and what you appreciate more about being here. Well, let's talk about the music, because you were in your 30s before you came here. A lot of people show up here and 17, 18 years old, and they have all these big ideas and big dreams. They call this a 10-year town for a reason. It takes a long time. And I either heard you in another podcast or read that you had over 300 songs before you ever really had a cut, right?
at least
300.
Yeah.
Because I heard it was another interview that you did, and you said you work with a young songwriter that's really, really good. You had some great songs, and he's like, why aren't we getting any cuts? And you go like, well, how many songs you got? 25.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, keep writing, buddy, because it takes a lot.
Well, we write, most of the people that I work with, we're going to write 100, 125 a year.
Yeah.
Some will write more than that.
Yeah.
And 10 of those, 12 of those
Might be good.
are probably going to be really competitive.
Yeah.
And the thing about it on Music Row, these writers, I call it the Super Bowl every day.
Yeah.
Because the writers, the musicians, the singers, the engineers, everybody at every position is the best
Yeah.
in the world. And that's not exaggeration.
Sure.
I'm continually blown away by the talent. So there's not going to be bad songs written.
Sure.
Because people have been in the business long enough and
Sure.
understand the craft enough to see where the mistakes are.
Yeah.
When you finish your first draft, you look back at it and go, oh, wait, we missed that. And you fix it, right?
Sure.
You do the edit. And so it's not necessarily about good songs and bad songs. It's about getting the song to the right ears at the right time on the right day.
And yeah,
because A&R reps are going to hear thousands of songs
right
for a project if they want to. So my song and your song might be both amazing Song of the Year potential songs. But if it doesn't hit them at the right time,
right,
or they just heard something similar,
right,
or the artist might have just gotten a divorce, might not be in love if it's a love song,
right.
Or there are a
lot of
thousand different things that go into it. And the stories are all, I'm wrong every time about which song's going to get cut.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that it's just amazing. Some things that I've heard, and this is a question I wanted to ask you. Sometimes there's songs that sit on the shelf for years. I heard a story, someone told a story about I think James Dean Hicks, do you know James Dean?
Yeah.
James Dean told me when I interviewed him about somebody that had a song that sat for 30 years and George Strait just cut it. How long what's the longest you've had one sit before it got cut?
You know, the thing about that is our catalogs don't have expiration dates.
Right.
So I continually go back through my back catalog, and I found one last night, as a matter of fact, that I had forgotten about. I said, wait a minute. That's a competitive song.
Yeah.
So I saved it, and I'm going to
You recycle it.
And yeah, I've had songs that were 5, 6, 8 years old.
Yeah.
I've got one cut, or one song that it's about 8 years old, and every time we play for A&R, they love it. Chesney cut it, and it has been on the last 3 albums and got kicked off every time.
You're kidding.
No. So, but it got kicked off by songs that were more relevant or more cohesive with those albums.
At the time.
So, but when things like that happen, to me, that's like, okay, that means that song is going to get cut by somebody.
Well, let's talk for relevance purposes and for our listeners, the songs that you have written that you've had cuts with Kenny Chesney, Hemingway's Whiskey, which I love the story. You're like me. We love Hemingway. You know where Hemingway's buried?
I don't.
Sun Valley, Idaho.
Really?
Yeah. You know why he loved Sun Valley? It reminded him of Spain because he was a war correspondent in Spain. But we love Key West, and we've been to the Hemingway mansion there, the Hemingway House, and toured it and know his stories. And we have our youngest son loves literature, and he loves Hemingway. But what a cool place. But the story goes, you were there.
I was there. I had a senior year English teacher, and we read Old Man of the Sea.
Yeah.
And we had to write a paper on it. And for some reason, it just clicked with me. The way that language, the way he wrote, I just was like, this is the coolest thing.
I get a little lost in it sometimes.
Which is
Farewell to Arms was.
Well, I think that's probably by design.
Yeah.
He probably wants you to. He wants us to, you know.
Yeah.
And so I fell in love with him, did a lot of research on him, and he was this swashbuckling, big game hunting, deep sea fishing
Oh, yeah.
guy, and lived in Cuba and lived in Key West. And
Yes.
he just was this larger than life persona. So I just became a huge fan. So I was down there for the Songwriter Festival, got up one morning, went to the tour.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's 10 in the morning. I don't know. And I spent an hour there probably just walking through the house going, this is looking at his room where the little Royal typewriter
Yes,
is. And
yeah.
I bought the print. I bought the picture of the Royal typewriter on the desk and
Okay.
brought it home. And so I walked out after, and there's a couple of benches out front, like outside the wall. And I was just sitting on this bench, and there's a big lighthouse. I'm looking at the lighthouse, looking at the ocean going, man, that was so cool. What was it like when he lived here? You know, and they tell the story that he bought the house by the lighthouse. So when he got hammered at the bar, all he had to do was look for the lighthouse and find the house.
Yeah.
So I thought that I was just reminiscing all that stuff.
Yeah.
So there's a guy sitting on the curb in front of me, and he's got this canvas backpack, and there's a can of pencils and a spiral flip top notebook. And I'm just sitting there and hadn't really noticed him. And he shuffles around, and I hear him. I look down at him. I was like, oh, I saw him. And, you know, I wasn't going to say anything. And he looks over his shoulder. He goes, hey, buddy. I said, hey, how are you? He goes, I'm good, man. He goes, you have a good morning? I'm having a great morning. He goes, yeah, me too. I'm writing the next great American novel. I said, really? He goes, yes, I am. He goes, I get inspired when I come down here and sit by Hemingway's house. And I said, well, tell me about it. What's the premise? What are you writing about? And he goes, well, I got a working title, and I'm kind of working through the plot and some characters, and I'm just taking my time because it's going to be the next classic American novel. I said, that is so cool, man. I'm thrilled for you. And I said, when'd you start? Well, you know, how long have you been working on it? Because I understand those can take years. He goes, well, I got here in 1978.
And this is when?
This was 9 years ago, 10 years ago. And I said, and that's when it hit me. Oh, okay. And I said, way to go, you know, good deal. And he reaches in his little canvas bag and he pulls out a little pint of whiskey.
Yeah.
Takes the top off and he reaches back and he goes, hey, you wanna pull? I said, no, man, I'm good. You know, I'm okay. And he goes, oh, come on. That's Hemingway's whiskey. If it's good enough for you, it's good enough for you. And I thought, oh my goodness.
What a line.
So I jumped on my scooter.
Yeah.
Ran back to the room.
Yeah.
And I wrote a verse and a chorus.
Oh.
And I had something going on that afternoon and got distracted. Came back to Nashville. I was on a writing trip and was with a guy named Ray Stevenson, who's amazing. And we were talking about what we were going to write. And I said, Ray, let me play you an idea I have. Mm-hmm. And I played him the verse chorus. And I get through the chorus and he reaches over and put his hand on my strings and went, stop. Just stop. He's a buddy.
Right.
You know? I went, oh. And I'm thinking, that sucks. Really sucks. And I was really excited about it.
Right.
Like, okay. He goes, hey, man, we're going to write that with Guy Clark. And I said, then we've been drinking a little bit. And I said, the Guy Clark?
The Guy Clark.
He went, yeah, man, I know Guy. He goes, that is so in his wheelhouse. I know he'll say yes. I said, okay, let's do it.
Yeah, how do you say no to that?
Yeah, so, you know, a couple of weeks later, Ray calls me, goes, hey, man, next Tuesday at 10, we're going to go to Guy's house. I'm just giddy. I'm like, what? He's a legend.
Right.
So we show up and we go down in his basement and where he writes and builds his guitars and all that. And he's sitting there and it's just really surreal. And so he goes, oh, no, play that for me. So I played him the verse and chorus. He goes, yeah. He goes, the hook. I said, yeah. He goes, I love it. But it's not, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for me. If it's bad enough for him, it's bad enough for me. Mm-hmm. I said, okay. He goes, because think about it. And he kind of went through his rationale, you know.
Right.
So we start playing around with the song and write a second verse and tweak the chorus. We changed that line in the hook and played with the melody a little bit and finished. And he said, I'm gonna cut this song's going on my album, boys. It's just like I was
Oh my gosh.
just it was
Not
like,
only do you get to write with Guy Clark, but you get a cut with
Right.
Guy Clark.
which I mean doesn't happen. It's
No.
just-
Well,
So-
I've heard lots of stories about Guy Clark and his giving advice like that.
Mhm.
And some guys not taking it. Todd Snyder, do you know who Todd
Yeah.
Snyder is? Todd, I think it was Todd, I'm pretty sure it was Todd, told the story about how he went to write with Guy Clark, and he had some songs he played, and Guy gave him some advice and said, you need to change this. He said a couple weeks later, he calls him and he goes, so did you get that stuff changed? He goes, Todd goes, no, I liked it the way it is. He said, Guy was never the same to me again. So he said, when you don't take advice from Guy Clark, you screw up.
I was not going to correct Guy Clark.
No one in their right mind would.
No.
Yeah.
So he called and said, "Hey, would you mind if I write that bridge by myself? I need to work. I really need to dig into that. I'd like to do that myself, if you don't mind." I was like, sure. And Ray said, sure. So he wrote the bridge, or replaced the one we had, and put it on his album. And it was
great.
Amazing.
That's a great story. And then Chesney cut it.
And then not long after that, Chesney cut it and titled the album
Hemingway's Whiskey.
after it.
Yeah.
And then a little while after that, probably a year and a half, 2 years, Chris Christopherson cut it.
Really? I didn't realize Chris had cut it as
He
well.
did, man. And it's just one of those things that nothing is impossible. Because if you said, you know what, somebody's going to write a song and Guy Clark's going to cut it and Kenny Chesney's going to cut it and then Christopherson's going to cut it, you tell them they were crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Because the chances are astronomical.
That's 1 in a billion.
But that's what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Well,
Because you never know.
That would get anybody out of bed.
You just never know, man.
Yeah. Well, these stories get us out of bed in the morning.
Yeah.
I love this. I
Great.
love this. This what we like to tell people what our podcast is about is kind of pulling the curtain back and letting people expose those stories, right? Because they're never going to hear those stories unless they listen to our podcast or listen to you tell that story somewhere else. I'd heard a version of that story, but not in that detail. And what a great story.
Well, and the path of a song, man, that's the thing that people don't see.
Right.
It is, if you think about after we write a song, okay, we write it, we do the absolute best that we can,
Yeah.
and we're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
My name's on it, I'm good with it, going out into the universe.
Sure.
After we write the song, we have zero control over the outcome.
Well,
It goes to our publisher.
yeah.
They decide to pitch it to A&R. A&R has to listen. The whole A&R team has to listen. The radio promo team at the label has to listen. The artist has to listen. The artist manager has to listen. The artist's wife or husband has to listen. So
And they all have to agree.
they all have to agree, which they never do. Do you like it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Do you?
yeah.
And who wants to say yes first? Because your
Right.
ass is on the line
Right.
if you're not right.
Right.
So the path is amazing to me.
Well, and then not only that, Joe, it's forever.
It is forever.
Whatever happens is forever. So whatever cut happens, because I'm sure you've had some cuts. You were going, well, Leslie told a story last night about somebody wanting to cut her song, and she's like, yeah, I don't know her, and I don't know that I want her to do my song. Isn't Dolly doing any cuts? Isn't Reba doing any cuts? I mean, no, and it was Leanne Womack, right? But she didn't know who Leanne Womack was at the time, but nonetheless, and it blew up, and it was a great song for her. But
Well, and that is a part of what we do. I've had songs that a newer artist or someone that's maybe not signed to a label yet
yeah,
wants to record,
yeah,
and you have to decide, is this song competitive enough that I need to wait and take a chance on an A-list artist recording it?
Right.
Or should I go ahead and let this person record it? Because a cut is a cut.
Right.
Some are more successful than others.
Sure.
But the more you build your catalog, the better off you are long term. So that's a tough decision.
Those early cuts on Chesney, or even more recently, Parker McCullum, there's a kid that just blew up. We saw him 7-8 years ago in Chalice, Idaho at the Brown Brothers reunion, and no one knew who he was. And now he's opening for George Strait.
He's great.
Talented artist. And so, but let's talk some more about some of your other hits, because you had The Cut with Guy, you had Tim McGraw, Still, which is, I love that song. Song.
That song, I woke up, I was on a writing trip in Florida, go outside, coffee, and I do a morning devotional every morning, and the verse that morning was Psalm 46:10, be still and know that I'm God. And I thought, that's pretty cool, because we're out here traveling and running around, and sometimes you just need to exhale.
Right.
And just sit in it,
Be still.
So Kyle Jacobs and Lee Bryce came downstairs. We were riding that morning.
Yeah.
And we ate breakfast and got in the pool for a little bit and started talking about ideas. And I said, man, here was my devotional this morning. And I think this is a song. I think it is. And I threw it out to them. And they both went, oh, yeah. Yeah, my grandmother used to say that. Just be still and know that. So we wrote it, and we actually finished it that day, and we really liked it and thought Lee was going to cut it.
Really?
And it was early in Lee's career. I think he had a single out, maybe two, and we all were excited about that. Mm-hmm. And so McGraw was on Curb at the time, and just by the path of the song, he had somebody here in A&R happened to play it for him, and he ended up cutting it and singled it, and it did really well. And we never thought it would be a McGraw cut. We thought it was going to be a Lee Bryce cut.
Right.
And so...
Yeah. Well, McGraw did it justice.
Oh, he killed it.
Yeah.
And I got to go to a show in Birmingham, and he opened the show with it.
Wow.
And it's just one of those...
I didn't realize that Lee Bryce wrote that with you.
Yeah, he was on the cover.
And Kyle...
Jacobs.
But that's a good segue into the Lee Bryce song that really touches us, is Save the Roses.
Oh, man. That song, we were on Lee's bus, me and Kyle and Lee. I don't know where we were. And we were going to write that night. And my father had just passed away. And just before that, a few months before that, Lee had a cousin that had passed away. And Kyle had a grandfather that passed away. And we were all just talking about that.
Yeah.
And man, my dad's funeral, it was in Collierville, Tennessee, which is 3 hours from here. And I didn't know it, but we're waiting for the funeral to start. And Kyle and Lee walk in the door of the church. And I just lost it. It was like, wow, you drove all the way down here, man. And we talked about that a little bit and how thankful I was that they were there. And I was telling them, I remember when my dad, when he knew, this was going to be it, he was talking about the service, and he said, tell people I don't want any flowers. No flowers, no roses, no, go out and do something you enjoy. Don't come in here and bring flowers for me. I don't want flowers. It's, And Lee said, man, my uncle, that sounds just like my uncle, just like our cousin. So we started talking about that. And that the song just kind of came alive as a result of that conversation. And
well,
yeah.
Sorry. We played that at my nephew's funeral.
I cannot tell you how many emails, messages on social media, that I've gotten where people said that exact same thing, saying thank you.
Yeah.
And I've gotten handwritten thank you notes. I got a guy sent me a copy of his will. It's in his will that song's going to be played at his funeral.
Wow.
And
well, Miss Shanda found that song and played it at Devin's funeral. A friend, yeah, she shared it with my sister-in-law, and this was an unexpected deal, and it was sad, but what a song.
And we didn't intend it to be that. We intended it to be, the singer saying, hey, man, look, I'm right here with you.
Right.
But I'm sitting here with Jesus, too, so y'all go have a good time.
Oh,
Don't grieve for me.
Right.
Y'all are the ones still on earth. So it was...
yeah, and it fit my nephew to a T. I mean, he was a hunter and a fisherman and, a beer drinker, and it was just fitting.
Man, that makes my day to hear that. Because look, the key behind what we do, it seems to me, is we've got to connect emotionally with the listener.
Oh, yeah.
If we don't, so what? We can write the little ditties and those are fun.
Oh, yeah.
Tractor and the truck songs and dance around the bonfire. But when you really can connect with the listener, that's when you're making a difference, I think.
Oh, no doubt.
That's when you're actually touching somebody's life. And
sure.
There's no greater joy than being able to do that, to me.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's talk about happy thoughts, right? Happy songs. You've had cuts with Gary Allen, Craig Morgan, Clay Walker, Steve Holy, Randy Houser, Kelly Pickler. I mean, my gosh, what a line.
Do you have any idea how many cuts you've had?
Oh, man. I'd say, including indie cuts, I'd say over 100.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Well, but
have you had some number ones?
I've not had a number one yet.
No number ones. Three top tens at least, right?
Maybe. I think
Tim still.
Yeah.
Craig Morgan, tough.
Jason Michael Carroll, where I'm from.
Yeah.
Who's the other one? You remember?
Steve Holy. Did you say Steve
Holy? No, I didn't. You had
Steve
top
Holy.
10 Steve Holy.
And man, there's one song that when we wrote it, we felt like it was pretty special. And Trace Atkins recorded it. And there's a video on YouTube of him. It's a black and white video. Him and Gordon Mote, who is the piano player. To me, he's just amazing. He's blind and he has perfect pitch, and he's amazing. I hope people go check out Gordon. It's on YouTube, and the performance, just as a fan, not as a writer, is stunning to me. The way Trace performed that song. Yeah, Frank Rogers produced it.
What's the title of the song?
I Can't Outrun You.
Okay.
So the consensus was that's song of the year. Absolutely song of the year. And people say that all the time, but we felt good about it.
Sure.
Well, so it comes time for, Trace had a single out, comes time for the next single. Trace goes to the label, I'm not going to say the guy's name, and said, this is the next single. And the guy said, no, it's not. It's a ballad. It's very sparsely produced, and it's just not going to do it. And Trace said, yeah, it is. And Trace is a big man.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and this is on the heels of Sugarland, Jennifer Nettles' Stay.
Right.
Which was a ballad.
Right.
Sparsely produced.
Right.
But the label head said, no, we're not doing it. And so I see Trace at it was either the ASCAP or the BMI Awards. I can't remember which one. And I walk up, I was like, man, I just can't get over your performance on I Can't Outrun You. It's just stunning. And he went, oh man, he's just crazy the way he talks. He goes, man, thank you. I love that song. I said, I'm gonna tell you what. And he's a funny guy. He's serious, but he's he's funny. And I said, I tell you, if that song doesn't single, I'm gonna drive over there and I'm gonna beat so and so's ass. And can I say that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
And Trace goes, Hoss, you ain't gonna have to because I'm gonna do it first. And it ended up not singling.
Oh no!
And not long after that, Trace left the label.
Really?
Yeah, and went somewhere else. But that's a song, and I still pitch that song, and I will continue to pitch that song because I just think it's competitive, as competitive as anything. Because it wasn't a single; it's just an album cut.
Sure.
But I still pitch it regularly.
It's amazing how a song has a life cycle, right? And there's, it can be cut by multiple artists and be very, very successful for someone that it never was for someone else.
Yeah,
right?
Nobody heard it.
Yeah. So, well, even I often wonder why they don't recycle some stuff from the past, because there's some great music out there that deserves to be heard today, right? So,
there's a lot of songs that are being like back catalog songs that are being edited and re-demoed because, like I said earlier, they don't have expiration dates.
Right.
So every song in your catalog is an asset.
Yes.
So I try and value them as assets, and I go through my catalog regularly and pull out something or rewrite something or re-demo it or whatever, because I'm not just going to give up on it.
Right.
But I, as a songwriter, I have to be the one that champions that song. I have to take it into my publisher and go, look, this is 7 years old, but I just want to remind you, because, they have 30, 40 writers or more at some of the publishers.
Sure.
They can't possibly remember all of the songs that we write.
Oh, no.
So it's my responsibility to go back through that catalog and pull up songs.
Well, and there's got to be turnover in people as well. So you get new A&R people and new and then new artists may come to town and you go, I got a song in my catalog that might be 7 or 8 years old or 10 years old, and go, I think that would work for this artist. I'm assuming. I don't know how this game works, right?
No, it's an ongoing process. And there are writers who write it and put it away and it goes in the catalog and you never hear from it again.
Right.
And that's great. But I am continually sorting through my catalog looking for what did I miss on? What song is not right and how can I rewrite it? Or, wait a minute, that song's perfect for Jelly Roll.
Right.
Even though I wrote it 10 years ago.
Right.
I'm going to, by God, pitch it.
Right.
Because if I don't,
someone else will pitch something and he's going to pick it up, right?
I just want a chance.
They're all looking, those artists are looking for the next big hit. They want those number ones, the top 10s, right? That's what puts food on the table and gold Rolexes on their wrist, right?
They got to have it.
Right.
If you release as an artist 3 or 4 singles that don't top 10,
you're gone, aren't you?
Your next single might not get the attention of the programming director.
Let me ask you this, of all the artists that you've worked with, who's really got the most staying power, do you think? Is it Chesney? Is it because Chesney's been around a long time?
Well, you look at the guys like Chesney and McGraw.
Yeah.
They are very consistent.
Yeah.
With the songs they choose and the producer. They find a formula that works for them and they stay with it. And they are absolutely fans first artists.
Yeah.
They don't really change their, I hate the word brand, but brand very much. Like you get artists that come to town and they're just so talented and amazing, and they release an album or two and it has 3 or 4 number 1 singles, and then they decide, I'm going to cut what I want to cut now.
Oh, right.
Doesn't happen a lot, but you've seen it happen.
Sure.
Or I'm going to go to LA and cut this, or I'm going to do whatever. And they miss.
Yeah.
And their fans go, huh?
Yeah, what happened? And then they move on.
They can.
Yeah.
But McGraw and Chesney and those guys, George Strait did it. They generate those super fans.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because they know what's coming.
We interviewed a gal who's seen a band, Reckless Kelly, Mickey and the Motor Cars 70 times.
and Reckless Kelly 48 times. That's a super fan. Now I know a young lady that's seen, a good friend of mine, she's seen George Strait 30 plus live George Strait concerts.
Wow.
That's a super fan.
That is a fan that needs free tickets at the next show.
Yeah. And yeah. So we love some different artists that we've seen multiple times, right? But that's bearing on insanity on some levels.
Well, look, the fan is the lifeblood.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to sell tickets at your live show.
Well, and this industry's changed, and you've got some perspective on this. We talked to a lot of people about it, the impact that streaming's had on the music industry. You as a songwriter and working for a publishing company, that's been tough because they don't burn CDs anymore, or very few in comparison to what used to happen.
Right.
They're now pressing vinyl again, which has helped some, but for the most part, streaming is where it's at. I mean, and I've ran the numbers in my mind, but I pay $9.95 a month for Spotify.
Mm-hmm.
You know how many hours of music I have to listen to get ahead of Spotify on that? And this is what we do for a living, right? We listen to a lot of music. I don't think I can ever get ahead of Spotify my $9.95 for what they pay the artists and the publishers.
No, you're just renting the music.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. But even then, they're it's just crazy because
the royalty rates, the way we get paid is radio singles.
Right.
That's where the real dollars are. But to me, I hear people criticizing Spotify, and I'm not crazy about the Spotify royalty rate. It's 0.004 cents per spin or per play.
Right.
But because the royalty rates weren't written,
the laws weren't written to protect you.
30s,
yeah.
Right? So they don't have any rules. But to me, Spotify is just incremental income. We didn't have it before.
Sure.
We had physical sales.
So it added did it add an income stream even to the songwriter?
Absolutely, because now it is nowhere near that of the royalty rates. If you had 1 million plays on radio and 1 million streams on a digital platform.
Yeah. No comparison.
Yeah. No, but still it's incremental income. And you add to your catalog that produces income quarterly. You want to grow that.
Sure.
That's the number you want to grow.
Sure.
And Spotify is fantastic for emerging artists.
Absolutely.
I got a buddy named Sam Tenez.
Okay.
He had a song out last year. This is How Legends Are Made. It was a monster. It's got billions of streams.
Really?
And
I've not even heard it.
You've heard it.
Have I heard it?
If you've listened to a sporting event or any kind of motivational video.
Oh, yes. You're right.
There's no way you haven't heard it. He had another one very similar. And guys like him, they just figured out how to put lightning in a bottle, and he owns it all. It's all his.
This is true. And that when we talked to Craig Campbell the other day, he said, look, I'm an independent artist now. I control everything. I get to cut what I want to cut when I want to cut it, and I own the music, and I own the rights, and I own the publishing, the whole deal. So,
well, yeah, because what people miss is with Spotify is the money is made when you own the master recording.
Right.
So if you own the master on Spotify, the income is reasonable.
Sure.
But the songwriter's share of that master is pennies.
Yeah.
So if you're Craig, for example, and he releases 10 songs next year or this year or whatever, or 20, and they do reasonably well, he's going to do very well financially.
Yeah.
Because he owns the master.
Sure.
He owns the master recording, and he controls all of the income stream. So,
well, it's interesting. It's an interesting industry. It's an interesting business. But the whole crux of it, and the reason we do this, is to share our love of music with our followers and our listeners, and to gain new fans for Joe Leathers music and for your artists? I mean, not that you need our help, but
I do. I'll take all I can get.
We want to like we say, pull back the curtain and show you, look, that this is a tough business, and it's not for the weak-hearted, man. You got to be tough to be in this business.
Look, if people could, I wish people could see behind the curtain, as you say.
Yeah.
You know, when I do a songwriter round, you know, I'm not a singer, but you have to. Fortunately, the bar is pretty low for songwriters. You sing your song, and every show, someone comes up and says, "You wrote that song?"
Yeah.
Well, no, I didn't write it. I co-wrote it. But, I thought Tim McGraw wrote that song. People don't know. When they see behind it, it opens up this whole, wait a minute, how does this work?
Yeah. We love songwriter festivals. So we've done, last year we did Livingston, Montana and Whitefish, Montana. We told you we're working with the artists or the songwriters for the Las Vegas Songwriter Festival. We're doing Cody, Wyoming, Red Lodge, Montana, Livingston, Montana, Whitefish, Montana this year. We did Wimberley, Texas. No, Dripping Springs songwriter deal.
John Clay Wolf's down there,
and we got to meet Walt Wilkins down there. And
Walt's
he's a
hero,
guy.
man.
I love that guy. And we didn't get a chance to do his interview because he was leaving for Europe, and but he agreed to do it, and we will get an interview with Walt. But we just love this whole deal, and the songwriter deal is it's such an intimate experience compared to a concert or to a festival, because they're just
different.
We're not having to compete with all those people to hear the music, and we hear the story behind it. We met Bryce Long and Marla Cannon Goodman. We met even Stevens in Livingston, Montana. Didn't get to interview even, but we
show up every day.
Yeah.
And
I just love it.
It's a job, man.
So, listen, you've been more than gracious with your time. We've got this. I could talk to you for hours. This has been fun. Will you do me a favor and play us a song?
I'm not going to play a song.
You're not going to play a song?
You don't want me to play a song.
Really?
No.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what you should do.
Okay.
You guys should host a festival in Idaho.
I want to. And that's one reason. Yeah, that's on my agenda.
You should do that.
That's on my agenda.
I love that you love music.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people that share your passion for it.
Yeah.
Because it changes your life.
Yeah.
The vibrations, like the whole universe is about vibration.
Yeah.
Light, sound, water, it's all vibration. And when that music comes into your head and your heart, and it changes your day.
Yeah.
That makes my day.
Well, you've made our day. This has been so cool.
Well, thank you. I love it.
Thank you so much. Before we get out of here, I'm going to have you autograph the guitar, even though you won't.
I'll be glad. You don't want to hear me sing.
Oh, man. I would love to. But anyway, thank you again so much. Joe, this has been so good.
Man.
Hey, I love a couple of things, and we talked about them before we actually started recording the podcast, but a couple of things that you say that tickle me. I follow you on social media. You always say when you start your little deal, tell them what you say.
Yeah, I'm a Nashville songwriter, and if I was good at it, I wouldn't have to tell you that.
I love that.
Well, we live in parentheses.
And you are good at it. And so I appreciate that about you. And then the other thing was that, what is it? Swing hard, you're going to hit something. You might hit something.
I had a baseball coach.
Yeah.
And he was great, and he was also extremely sarcastic. And he would always say, not always, but a lot of times before he went up to bat, he'd go, "All right, Leathers, swing hard. You might hit it."
Yeah.
And so you got to swing hard, man.
That's great advice. Well, the reason we're here and sitting in this room today is because I swung hard and I asked Joe Leathers for an interview, and he said yes.
I appreciate you even considering me. I couldn't figure out why you would even.
Man, this has been a lot of fun. This has been a lot of fun. All right, cool. Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
appreciate you. Hey, for Musical Miles Podcast, I'm your host, Byron Duffin, here with Mr. Joe Leathers at Curb Music in Nashville, Tennessee. We will see you somewhere down the road. Adios for now.